guys, I'm D-Mac from NBA Fantasy Bible, and along with me, as always, is Kayla Fonte, and together we are Between Two Hoops. Kayla, how are you going?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing really well. Second episode for today, which we'll be releasing later on today. This one is our ads, drops, and streamers. Our first episode, make sure you go and follow us and give us a like on YouTube, but make sure you check out that show. That's the Buy Lows and Sell High show, which is also a very interesting discussion that we had. But shall we get into our ads, drops, and streamers?
Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. All right. Headlined by Bilal Coulibaly. Starting off, he headlines our ads right now. So Bilal Coulibaly, what a turnaround it's been. Only 43% rostered on Yahoo, and that has dropped dramatically over the last fortnight. And a lot of people were dropping left, right, and center. But we tried to preach patience, and a lot of people didn't show that patience, but we did in most cases. I did actually drop him in one of my leagues, which I very much regret. But if he is available, go make sure that he is added and make sure he's rostered in all 12 team category leagues. But yeah, he's doing really, really well. And actually, we do have a bit of a highlights package. But yeah, Bilal, is he on any of your teams right now, Kayla?
I think I only got him in one league, unfortunately. But I mean, if he's dropped, then I'm going to go pick him up. I'm actually going to go check the waivers right after this show. Because a lot of people were dropping after those couple of bad performances. But he's really just turned things around, especially with all the injuries that they had, especially Kyle Kuzma. He's been out for a little bit. So he's really stepped up.
And that was key for me. When people were dropping left, right, and center, I said, look, Kyle Kuzma's out. The minutes still looked really impressive. It was the mid to high 30s as well. So I always had confidence that he'd be able to return, and he may not be able to maintain this level of scoring. And some of these highlights are just tremendous. He looks so free. We know of his defensive prowess, but on the offensive end, he's really made strides this season. But yeah, for us, he's a must-add guy right now.
Yeah, especially down the stretch too, with all the silly shenanigans and things like that. You could have an even bigger opportunity.
Second time you've used that term today, and I love it. Please keep saying shenanigans.
Of course.
His teammate, Justin Champagne, he's looked fantastic. He's been probably the pickup of the last week.
Yeah, and if you look at his game log too, it's just a bunch of like 0 minutes and things like that. And now he's really getting, I think, like late, like 20 to 30 minutes per game, which has been fantastic. And he's been providing good stats in that time.
Yeah, he's the preferred of the Champagne brothers. Justin over Julian right now, but Justin must add right now, just until Kuzma does return. And I'm not sure of Kuzma's exact timeline to return, but until then, make sure Justin Champagne is added. Obi Toppin, now he's not playing huge minutes, but the minutes that he's playing, he's been so efficient. He's actually putting up great defensive stats right now as well.
Yeah, he's been great, and he doesn't need a lot of minutes to be impactful. I believe in his last game he played about 20, and he still provided good value. So I'm looking to add him. I even picked him up in a couple of leagues.
I did too. And initially that was as a streaming option, but I may hold on to him for a little bit longer as well. Now, this week as well, coming into this week, strange one in terms of the schedule. So we've got games on Monday, but we don't have any games on Tuesday or Wednesday, or any games on Tuesday that count, I should say. But no games towards fantasy on Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we have 13 games on Thursday. So very strange schedule. So it does make streaming a little bit more difficult. But some of these guys are just must-add guys for rest of season as well. One of these guys, in my opinion, is Zach Edey. Now, yes, he is rostered quite heavily already. But if he is or has been dropped, or if he is available, just make sure you go and pick him up, because his first game back yesterday, he looked very impressive in limited minutes as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people were quick to drop him too after the injury news, but now that he's back and he's already looking really good, you just got to add him, and I think he's going to have great rest of season value.
And in the few games up to his injury, he looked fantastic. He really looked like he turned a corner, and we saw a little bit of it in his first game back last night as well. So that's great to see, and I think he can be a top 100 guy. Maybe that's pushing it, but I think he can be a top 100 guy in category leagues, particularly for the rest of the season. The next two guys. Now, this is as a result of the trade. Dennis Schroeder is going to the Golden State Warriors in return for DeAnthony Melton, who is out for the season. So that's really a salary dump by the Warriors. But they've picked up Dennis Schroeder. But Shake Milton now gets an opportunity, but as does Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I just feel a little bit more comfortable with Shake Milton just because Ben Simmons is Ben Simmons. I like him more in points leagues as well, just because some of his categories aren't the best, and that's more so with like free throw percentage, threes and things like that. He's also
Yeah.
not a flashy scorer, of course. But yeah, both of these guys are going to benefit from the trade.
And as a lot of people have alluded to, it is difficult for Ben Simmons to play alongside of Nick Claxton as well. It's very
Mhm.
difficult for floor spacing, lack of shooting. So I can see that as the reason why Shake Milton is probably more favourable at the moment over Ben Simmons. But I still think there's a lot of opportunity for Ben Simmons to play a significant role for the Nets for the rest of the season anyway.
Mhm.
Their teammate, Dorian Finney-Smith, similar situation. They won't play the same position, of course, as Dennis Schroeder, but I think he gets more shots up now that Schroeder has departed.
Yeah, I think he's going to benefit as well. And Finney Smith is someone who I'm actually a fan of. I have him in a couple of leagues. He's returning from injury too, a couple of games ago, and he's looked pretty solid so far. So I expect a little bit more production from him.
Yeah, and let's see how it all plays out as well. So, if you are limited with your ads, I'd like to see how it all shakes out. Pardon the pun, but I probably do prefer Shake over the other two at this stage. If you can afford one move for the week, Goga Badadze, he's probably already rostered, but 38% rostered in Yahoo probably indicates that he's not. But in a lot of competitive leagues, he should be rostered, particularly category leagues.
Yeah, he's looked great too. He's been starting. He's been providing good numbers, especially points, rebounds, some stocks. I think it's going to continue as long as he's still starting, and it'll be interesting to see how that three-headed monster shapes up.
It will be, but also when Bankero and Franz Wagner return from injury,
Mhm.
particularly Bankero, how does that impact? Does Bankero start at the 4, Wendell Carter Jr. slot back into the 5? I actually think that Goga Badadze looks a better player at center, to be honest. I think
I
he'll
agree.
complement Bankero a lot better. So it would be nice to see Goga retain that value if he does stay as the starting center. But stranger things have happened, and perhaps Wendell Carter Jr., being on that team for such a long time, has a bit of seniority over
Yeah.
Badadze, but I'd like to see Badadze start at center when the team is healthy. Grady Dick, one of your guys. Let's get some Dick back into the team. So obviously, there's a whole heap of Toronto Raptors injured.
Mhm.
Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel quickly, but Grady Dick, yeah, he has to be had right now.
Yeah, and his roster percentage was a lot higher too before all the Raptors injuries, and then he was dropped. But now he's pretty available again, so go pick him up as long as they're injured.
Go get some Dick indeed. Ayo Dosunmu, he was spoken about on our previous show, the buy lows and sell highs, as a humongous sell high.
Mhm.
Top 10 in 9cat over the last fortnight, which is unbelievable. So for whatever reason he's not already added, just go and make sure he is added because he's just put up fantastic numbers recently.
Yeah, and that roster percentage is going to get a lot higher over the next few days.
I think so. In my mind, he's still a waiver wire guy, but he's been picked up by a lot of people and has
Mhm.
had a lot of success recently. So make sure he is rostered. And the last one, this guy should have been rostered weeks ago, but Santi Aldama, he's put together a quietly impressive season.
Yeah, we mentioned that before too. Just quietly performing. He's been really solid too. A couple of rough games here and there, but for the most part, he's been really solid.
Yeah, look, I wonder if Zach Edey's return actually impacts Santi Aldama. Does that have a flow-on effect there?
I think there is a little bit. Nothing significant though. I'm still rocking with Aldama if I got him.
Yeah, good call there. All right. Next one here. Some more ads. Peyton Pritchard should have been added in most category leagues. I think he is available in a fair few points leagues, but he's putting up some really nice
Mhm.
numbers.
And I think a couple of people did drop him too once Porzingis returned and everything. But I mean, he's still providing really good value, and he was even a sell high for us. So go pick him up.
So high. And as we mentioned on that show as well, Boston are leaning into resting some of their guys here, there, and everywhere. So we saw it with Tatum. We saw it
Mhm.
with Al Horford when it wasn't a back to back. Yeah, he's old. He's almost my age, which is ancient. But I think that just allows for Peyton Pritchard to really step in. And when one of the stars or two of the stars miss a game, he really does step up.
Mhm.
Next one's Rui Hachimura. Now, LeBron, the king, returned yesterday, and it did impact Rui Hachimura, but I still think Hachimura has a place on a roster in a 12-teamer.
I think so too, especially as long as he's in that starting lineup. And I'm sure that LeBron will miss a couple of more games down the stretch too, just because of his age and injury concerns and things like that.
Yeah, look, he turns 40 this month, as do I, just quietly. But yeah, LeBron's not getting any younger. So Rui Hachimura, I think he still has an opportunity to shine. DeAndre Hunter, another guy that probably has been rostered in most leagues, but again, that 40% rostership makes it seem like he should be available in a lot of spots. But yeah, he's been performing well, shooting pretty well, being solid for the Atlanta Hawks as well, and just providing a little bit more grunt as well, which we're not used
Mhm.
to from Hunter.
Yeah, it's been a little bit surprising, but I mean, he's been pretty well so far. Yeah, he could be a little bit streaky, but I mean, as long as he's providing good value like this, you should pick him up.
Should pick him up. Just keep rolling with him until it all falls apart. Now, Mo
Mhm.
Wagner, we spoke about Orlando. A little bit short-handed with a couple of their superstars missing for now, but Mo Wagner, he's got some value just while Banchero is still out. And I think Banchero will return probably within a week, probably within the next 2 weeks. I'm thinking a week's
Mhm.
time he may return, but Mo Wagner still has some value in the meantime.
Yeah, he's close to returning, but still, yeah, Wagner's looked really good, even in the limited minutes that he plays off the bench. He's providing you with some points, rebounds, some stocks here and there. So yeah, you're gonna stream him while they're shorthanded.
Yes. Now, a couple of Pelicans coming up. Yves Missy, very, very exciting rookie, but he's
Mhm.
been very solid as well over the last few games.
Yeah, he's looked good. Even Boston Jr. I mean, as long as they're shorthanded, with Ingram's out for a while, indefinitely, so we don't really know when he's going to return. And it's the same kind of case with Zion. So both of these guys in their absence are going to be benefiting.
And Missy is getting the bulk share of center minutes, which is how they should be playing it right now. But we'll see if that changes when or if. Hopefully, Zion does return at some stage. But Missy's playing really well, and he should be added right now, particularly in category leagues. And
Mhm.
finally, Jeremy Sohan, yeah, he's just really impressive, and he's really stepped up from last season. I was talking to you about this off air, but his
Mhm.
experimental year as point Sohan last season's actually held him in good stead for this season. He's not playing the point, but he just looks really good with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I think it definitely helped him too. And he's taken a huge leap compared to last year. And I think this is sustainable for the rest of the season.
Is he their second best player?
Mm, I want to say, yeah, maybe second or third best player. I mean, he's looked really good. I've been really impressed with his game.
Yeah, I'm liking the core. I'm liking the Spurs core at the moment.
Hmm.
Now we're looking at our holds, and Alex, I've spoken about him previously as a hold, and people, particularly in points leagues, just want to drop him. And I get it in a points league, but in a category league, I've said it before. I think it's probably a little bit outlandish, but I think he can be close to a top 50 guy down the stretch in categories just because of that potential to put up some really nice block numbers.
Yeah, he's definitely a fantastic player. And I think a lot of people just tend to drop when he's having those rough stretches because he could be a little bit up and down. But I think just towards the end of the season with all the shenanigans and things like that, I could see him having a lot more value too. I don't know about top, like you said, top 50.
Yeah, look, that's a bit of a stretch, but I'll put my neck on the line. I'll say top 50 in a category league, nowhere near in a
Hmm.
points league, but in a
Yeah,
category league, look, it wouldn't surprise me if he starts busting out 3 block games consistently.
I like that. I want to say closer to top 70 for me, but I love the confidence, and it's definitely possible.
Definitely possible. Dennis Schroeder, let's see what happens. He's been touted as starting alongside of Steph. Let's see if that happens. And if that's the case, look, his usage will be a lot less than it was at the Nets, but will he still have 12 team value? It remains to be seen. But for now, he's a solid hold for us.
Yeah, I think the move definitely hurts his value a little bit, but I don't think
Mhm.
it's enough to drop yet, especially because we still haven't seen him play. So I want to see how everything shapes up first. And he is starting, which he has that advantage, of course, alongside one of the best stars in Steph Curry. But still, I want to see how it shapes up first.
Yeah, we know that Steph can play off ball as well. So Dennis will still have the ball in his hands a fair bit, which suits his game. So again, I would love to see how it all plays out. But for us, very, very solid hold for now.
Mhm,
Christian Brown, been great all season, but a little bit
mhm.
quieter recently. Make sure you hold him.
Yeah, I noticed that his roster percentage was going down. And I think part of that is also due to, yeah, a little bit of rough games here and there and also injury concerns. But he's looked really good the whole season, and I think he can maintain that.
Oh, I agree. I think he just has to be held right now. Mark Williams came back. He's looking quite good. Surprisingly,
He is.
he's look maybe not surprising, just based on his first 2 seasons of his career. But We thought the back issues would probably linger a little bit longer, but he's looked really solid.
He has, and I noticed that his roster percentage also was dropping just slightly. But people also have to remember that he is still ramping up. I mean, the Hornets are going to want to be careful with him too, so they're not going to rush him into anything significant right away. But yeah, he has looked really good so far in what he's played.
And quite rightly, he is getting more play over Nick Richards, but I think that's the right play. Nick Richards has been solid as the starter, but moving forward, Mark Williams is the center for the future for the Hornets. Tari
Mhm.
Eason, now, yeah, I love Tari Eason. I have for quite some time, but a lot of people are dropping him just because he is having a few quieter games. The offensive output's not quite there, but that's not really his game. Steals have dropped off a little bit, but I still think he should be held, particularly in category leagues.
Yeah, especially with his defensive impact. You got to be patient with him. I think as a lot of these young guys too, they're going to have up and down moments here and there. But with Eason and his upside, you got to stick around with him.
Yep. Devin Vassell, now he's looked fair. I was going to say fantastic. He's looked terrible. He's come back from a long-term injury or longish-term injury. He's had up and down games, but in the last game, yeah, it's really blown the buy low window open. But for those that do have him on their roster, make sure you hold or don't sell low because he was spoken about on our buy lows and sell highs as a buy low guy. I don't think his value can get too much lower right now.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And we've seen what he's capable of last season, so I think he will bounce back. It's just a matter of time.
And he's still coming off the bench as well, which
Yeah.
I think he's their top, probably their second best player on the Spurs, maybe third if we're talking about Jeremy Sohan potentially being the second best player. But yeah, I think that he needs to be held firmly, but I think he can turn it around. So let's see how quickly he does that. Now, Jonas Valanciunas, it's interesting. We spoke about Alex Sarr being a very strong hold at the start. Jonas Valanciunas is a soft hold for me, and that really is dependent on Alex Sarr as well. When Alex Sarr is either missing or has foul trouble or has a very quiet game, Jonas Valanciunas tends to step up, and vice versa. Alex Sarr has a strong game, Valanciunas has a quiet one. A lot of rumors of Valanciunas being traded. I don't think you hold him just for the fact that he could be traded somewhere else because he could be traded to, let's say, a Lakers, and he's still going to be a backup. So that may not actually change anything. It may actually make the situation worse. So I'm not holding him just because of that. I'm just holding him because we know that he can be a very strong contributor, again, particularly in category leagues.
Yeah, he's a very soft hold for me too. I would probably consider dropping him if there was a really hot waiver wire pickup or something happened as a result of a trade or something like that, where
Yep.
a player is going to have good rest of season value. Then I would feel comfortable dropping him.
Points extraordinaire. Are you dropping him in points?
Points, I actually probably would too. Yeah.
Yep, in a 12-teamer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would too. Okay, there are our holds. Now, these are guys that we think are either drops or droppable, depending on your situation, which also translates into streamers as well. Grayson Allen, good streamer, threes, points, but when the Suns are healthy, Kevin Durant's back. Bill missed the last one, so Grayson Allen was a nice streamer, but more often than not, he's just going to be that streaming type of guy.
Yeah, that's really disappointing too, especially after what a good run he had last year. But as long as they're healthy, I mean, he's kind of overshadowed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Tyus Jones being in that team has really hurt him. Spencer
Mhm.
Dinwiddie, yeah, nice streamer, particularly while we had some games without Doncic. We had some
Mhm.
games without Kyrie. Very solid, but I don't think he needs to be held right now.
No, definitely not. You can drop him now that the team is healthy. But when one of those two players in the backcourt are injured, then you could stream him.
Yep. Lonzo Ball, very romantic story. Great to see him back on the court, but I don't think he needs to be held in any situation in 12 teamers.
Yeah, I agree with that too. There's still like lingering injury concerns there too. And yeah, just the production just isn't enough for me to roster him.
Yep. Nick Richards, we spoke about him. We spoke about Mark Williams. So Mark Williams getting the bulk share moving forward. So Nick Richards, streaming guy at this stage. And if Mark Williams does miss a game or perhaps an extended period of time, we know that Nick Richards is the key backup and probably one of the best pickups right there as the backup big man. Al Horford. Now, you look at his numbers and you go, how is he just a streamer? He's a top 100 guy in 9 cap. Well, it's for the fact that he does miss those back-to-backs, and now he's missing just random games just for rest, just because he's old, like myself. It's just a Boston thing as well. So in a head-to-head situation, I don't think you can rely on a guy like that. So he's a streamer when we know that he's playing, or in a roto situation, he's a must hold. But that's, the minority of us playing roto. The majority of us playing head to head. So in that situation, I think Al Horford is just a streaming guy.
Yeah, I agree with that too. He's definitely droppable, especially with when the Boston Celtics are like mostly healthy. Porzingis is back, so he's kind of overshadowed there.
Big time. Wendell Carter Jr., we spoke about him even starting alongside a Goga. He's not putting up decent numbers at all to be rostered in 12s.
And it's funny too because a lot of people were really high on him earlier on in the season when he was having those good stretch of games. But we said it before, he's very inconsistent and also injury prone, and so far those two things have happened.
Yeah, pretty bad combination there.
Yeah.
Jared McCain's injured. He'll
Mhm.
miss quite some time, which is very disappointing. Hurts his rookie of the year chances significantly, but also for our purposes, he's definitely a drop.
Yeah. He's out indefinitely too, so I don't even think he has a timeline.
Yeah, so hopefully, young guy, likable sort of guy as well. So I hope he turns it around quickly and gets back on court. Marcus Smart, he had a nice stretch there a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, he's fallen away again.
Yeah, you don't have to hold him, but he's definitely a streaming option.
Streaming guy, if you need threes, you need some steals, good streaming option there. Scooter Henderson, yeah, I was hoping for a bit of a turnaround this season. It just hasn't happened. High pedigree, high draft pick in his draft year, but it just hasn't come to fruition.
Yeah, I was really hoping so too. He is someone who I was high on heading into the season. I think there's still a chance that he could really bounce back, especially down the stretch. But I mean, you don't have to hold him for that.
I agree there. Now, Asar Thompson, a lot of people just saw there was a stretch last season where he was just putting up fantastic numbers, but at this stage, at the Pistons, he's just not getting enough game time. He's not getting the opportunity.
Mhm.
Having said that, we know that Tobias Harris is going to miss today's game. Does that give him an opportunity as a streamer right now?
Yeah, I would consider him as a streamer, but he's not someone who has to be held. The other issue with the Pistons is that there's just so many mouths to feed on that team, especially at the small forward position too. So he's not someone you have to hold.
Agreed there. Dalton Connect. Yeah, again, a couple of weeks ago, he was a very popular ad, and so was Rui Hachimura, but Dalton Connect, more a streaming guy at this stage.
Yeah, it's just hard, especially when like the whole team is healthy too. There's not enough to go around for him. But yeah, he's a very good streamer when they're shorthanded and he's starting.
Next one, Zachary Ricochet, number one draft pick. So, of course, people were very intrigued as to what he could deliver in terms of fantasy, but I don't think he needs to be held.
Yeah, he's had some good games here and there, but as of late, not the best. So he's a streaming option, but you don't have to hold him.
Yeah, I think once DeAndre Hunter did return from injury, I think Zachary Ricochet's value definitely diminished at that point. Now, Brandon Pajemski, we spoke about being so disappointed in him this season, but yeah, he does not have to be held in 12s.
Yeah, and it's so bad to see that too because over the past couple of weeks he's been somewhat decent, especially in points leagues where I picked him up. But now with the trades that the Warriors have done, yeah, his value is going to go down. It's the same for his teammate Buddy Hield as well, who's been a drop for the past little bit.
He had one really outstanding game, but like you said, with Dennis Schroeder coming to the team, I think both of them can be dropped and more
Yeah.
for streamers, particularly Healed for those threes. But yeah, it is disappointing to see Pajemski not really take off as we thought because he's highly touted over at the Warriors. So
Hmm.
yeah, it hasn't really translated into game time. Scottie Pippen Jr., yeah, clear drop there. Everyone's healthy in the backcourt, so he can be dropped. And Vasily Micic, he's a streamer, and he was a really look until we got word of LaMelo returning. I think he would have been an ad, but now that we have heard that LaMelo is questionable for Monday and will probably return at some stage this week, Micic is just a streamer.
Yeah, I added him once the news about Lamelo came out, but now that he's healthy, drop and then monitor for any injuries, and you can pick him up again.
Absolutely. And even this week, perhaps LaMelo doesn't play because I think they've got the Monday, Thursday, Friday back to back. Obviously, Tuesday and Wednesday, there are no games. So he's got the
Mhm.
Monday, Thursday, Friday. He may miss one of those back to backs on the Thursday, Friday. So watch for Micic as a streamer. Finally, we've got just pure streamers now. So Jordan Clarkson, he came back in the last game, looked good, but points league sort of situation here.
Yeah, definitely. He's not someone you have to hold either, just because he's had so many injury issues throughout the season.
Yep. Royce O'Neal, he's looked really good, but of course, Bill's missed games, KD's missed games. Booker's actually looked pretty healthy this season, but Royce has
Mhm.
stepped up when needed.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same for Grace and Allen too. They have a little bit of elevated value when there's injuries to their core.
Yep, the next Thunder guys. So Lou Dort and Caston Wallace, great defensive guys. Fantastic,
Mhm.
scary on defense, particularly when you've got Alex Caruso as well. You could probably add him here as just these defensive maestros. But in terms of
Mhm.
fantasy, for us, they're more streaming guys.
Yeah, definitely, especially because they're very inconsistent too, but they'll have those periods of good value.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre. Now, this is an interesting one. He could be quite easily on that ads list, particularly with Embiid sideline. But for now, we've put him on the streamers list, but a streamer that could convert to an ad depending on how things play out. We've also got Jared McCain is injured as well, so Kelly Oubre's got a little bit more to do. So he could easily be on the ads list.
He could, and I think he's about 30% rostered in Yahoo leagues, but for now I feel more comfortable with him as a streamer.
Yeah. TJ McConnell had a really nice stretch, but Andrew Nembhard's come back to the paces.
Mhm.
Halliburton's really stepped up, and it's almost like the Halliburton of old, which has sort of diminished TJ McConnell's impact on basketball.
Yeah, true. And he'll have those couple of stretches here and there where he's just really good with some points, threes, assists, and steals, but it's up and down.
Yeah. Next one is really intriguing. Coming into this season, he was a real dark horse as a very, very late round sort of flyer type guy. Hasn't panned out the way I wanted. It
Mhm.
was more of a patience one. If you had the ability to hold on Jalen Smith, you could, just with all those rumors around Nikola Vucevic. Hasn't panned out at all, but we did see in the game that Vuce did miss, Jalen Smith had a 5-block game, and that's just the type of output that I was hoping for more consistently this season.
Mhm. Yeah, but whenever Vooch is hurt or missing a game, Jalen Smith is the pickup.
I agree. Jaden McDaniels, yeah, he's so up and down, but when he's up, when he's just on fire, he looks like probably the best defensive player in the league.
Yeah, and for a minute there, he was an ad for us. But like you said, he's just so up and down and inconsistent that you just got to ride it out while he's hot and then drop it when he's cold.
He's such a tease. He's such a fantasy
Hmm.
tease, but yeah, you know how good he can be on the defensive end, and when he does get his shot going, it's just a real, yeah. Like I said, it's a tease. Ochai Abaji, one of your guys, as we alluded to, a lot of injuries at the Raptors, but Abaji is a nice streaming guy.
Oh, definitely. I mean, Dick is definitely the preferred option here for the ad, but Agbaji, I'm definitely a streamer too.
Yeah, uh, definitely prefer Dick, but Abaji can be streamed. Gershon Yabusele, we've heard that Embiid's going to miss Monday. Yabusele and Drummond are probably nice streaming options here.
Yeah, definitely the preferred guys. Embiid has been so just disappointing this year that it's provided other opportunities for other guys.
Yeah, and finally, I'll round this out with Chris Dunn, only just because I picked him up in a league where I really wanted some elite steals, and he is bringing elite steals. I think he's averaging close to 4 steals a game over the last week, which is insane. So Chris Dunn getting a lot of value just through his steals alone.
Mhm.
Now, that is a wrap. Any final words? That was a really nice, quick episode, but any
Mhm.
final words, Kayla?
Yeah, just make sure to go check out our sell highs and buy lows, our first episode of the day.
Absolutely. Now, what's coming up? You got BBB episodes coming up as well.
Yes, so we're recording that hopefully tomorrow night, and we have a special guest that we're going to bring on. So that'll be published sometime on Wednesday. So stay tuned for that.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to that. Bitches be balling. Make sure you like and subscribe. Follow them on all your social platforms, and of course, follow us. Obviously, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us at Twitter. You can find Kayla at Kayla_Fonte and find myself at NBA Fantasy Bible. You can follow us on Blue Sky, of course, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. But until next time, Kayla, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys. See ya.